So, hi there, Sandra. We
Hi.
already got to know each other a little bit, but the audience doesn't know you. So, first of all, welcome. I'm
Thank you.
very happy that you want to be part of these testimonials for YOUnique. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are
Well,
you coming from? What is your occupation? What do you do in the daily life?
my name is Sandra Grace. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina, and I am a life and business strategist and a story coach. And that's what I do. I was the publisher and owner of WNC Woman magazine, and before that, I spent 35 years in California as the CEO of Master Team Incorporated, which was a recruiting and consulting firm, and the executive co-founding director of the Silicon Valley Association of Software Entrepreneurs, which we
Wow,
launched 300 successful software companies our first year as an organization, with 200 more in incubation and acceleration.
that sounds really cool. We should have a discussion another time about that because that's interesting.
Yeah, I would love that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So this is all about the purpose paper reading that
Okay.
you got with Monique. And so I'm, yeah, curious about, did the purpose paper reading have any effect on you in your life in general?
Yeah, it really did. It was interesting that when Monique read me my purpose paper, it was like it was the first time that I actually ever heard my life described like accurately. And it answered a lot of those questions of why this, why that, why did I live that experience, how did I live that experience, and things like that. So it was like somebody says, explain your life. And as Monique was reading it to me, I was just in tears going, wow, yeah, this is my life. Like, this is really my life. And I was so excited. It felt so good. Kind of
Yeah,
like
so a
getting,
lot of recognition.
oh yeah, big, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So was there like one particular thing that really stood out when she was sharing your gifts and talents?
Oh yeah, the gifts. I pretty much understand my talents. And when she was explaining them to me, when she was reading the purpose paper, it really took me to a whole different level of understanding like my talents and who I am, and how I've used my talents, because I'm 68. So it's kind of interesting to hear your story like in retrospect, you know what I mean? So it was like bringing forward, like every time she would mention a new talent, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that, I feel that so deeply. But when we started talking about the gifts, that was when things really became magical for me and really just kind of lit everything up. Because, you know, I come from a generation of women are to be seen and not heard, good little woman, get in the kitchen. And I took a different path. I took the path of, I'm going into business. I wanted to go to, my original plan in life was to go to law school and become a international business attorney. And I got as far as my MBA. I finished my MBA, and then it was like, maybe I like just building companies better. And so when Monique really started talking about my gifts, I was like, it just it 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 just sort of vaporized all of that insecurity that I'd lived with my whole life. Because you know how you do something and people will go, why did you do that? Or how did you do that? Or, and it's like, and the other part of that is like, we just do things naturally as human beings. And really having her break down my gifts really gave me that explanation that I'd never had before about how I'd made decisions and why I made decisions. And why I was so hugely successful was because I followed my gifts. And I didn't even have a clue as to what they were until Monique read my purpose paper. So it was like, ah.
But was there then also, I can imagine hearing those gifts. Did you also, yeah, witness like a behavioral change because of knowing now those gifts, like more being more aware of them?
Oh,
Could you elaborate a
absolutely.
little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things is that I've been married a few times. So um, my the first behavior that changed for me was that the way that I live my life with men is sort of like, you're gonna do that? Yeah, no, that doesn't work for me. You're out. Like, nope, stop. You're not here anymore. And I threw away some really good relationships because of that. And so in reading my purpose paper and working with with Monique, I'm so much nicer, so much kinder. And I find myself, I wouldn't say more tolerant. I'm not more tolerant, but it's like I look at something now and I go, is this really worth like trashing everything in my life over? And like my new husband, we've been together 8 years now, going up on 9 years, and it's really changed. But it hasn't just changed how I relate with my partner, but it's changed how I relate pretty much with the entire world. You know, I live in a very small city. We've got about 100,000 people here. So that's small, considering there's 8 billion people on the planet now. So, you know, in the past, I was always aware of, like, you don't want to create too many issues in the world, in your world, because it creates a lot of chaos. So my purpose paper really helped me to like navigate like my own behavior in the world, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I think that really understanding my purpose paper, because, you know, Monique and I talked about it a lot. And that's why it's so important to have a peer when, you know, when your peer reads you your purpose paper. It's really important to be able to like have a dialogue with them and have them explain things and things like that, because Monique really worked with me a lot. And you know what, I felt like I should be paying her a coaching fee, you know. And because we worked together in the early days of the purpose papers. And I don't know, it just, you know, I know this sounds a little cliche, but it really, it made me want to be a better person. And it really pulled into an alignment, like my gifts, my talents, my intelligence, and my desire. It's sort of like it lined it up in such a way that it was the first time that I ever went, oh, that's why it's important that when I walk into a room, that I'm the leader, I'm the boss, I'm the person who's giving the instructions, I'm the one who has the knowledge. Oh, excuse me, I don't care if you're the general manager, I'm here now, you can move over. And I know that sounds a little silly, but it's true. I can walk into a department store and people will walk over to me and start asking me where things are. And I'll be standing there looking at socks, you know? It's like, but
It's the
but now,
energy, yeah.
yeah, but now I understand that. I understand that natural leadership. And when I was a little kid, I couldn't understand it at all. It was like, you know, like why does everybody come to me? But the way that it's developed in my life, yeah, and really understanding my purpose paper and how it really showed me like yeah, this is exactly who you are. And you will always be the leader. You will always be the one that will, in a crisis, take charge, or you'll always be that person that everybody gravitates to if they're in fear. And I mean, being a coach was, I mean, I've been a coach for years, since about 1995. And it was just, it just, when Monique told me that in my paper, that it's all over my paper, she goes, Sandra, look here and look here and look here. And I was like, wow. It was like, it was the first time that I actually owned it, like really owned it. And I mean, I'm excited because I'm working on my life purpose project at the points at right now. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, you can see that you're radiating.
Thank
That's
you.
nice. So yeah, I had the question about consciously altering things. Well, I think we addressed that already because you really did consciously look at things and also how it shows up in your life. So what would you say is the most significant or the biggest difference that this purpose paper reading has brought you?
All right. So one, it really helped me, like I said before, really understand who I am and what my purpose is and what I'm really here to do. And what was really good for me is that it also told me where my faults are and where my shadows are, because I have such a big heart that I will just take care of other people and give out to other people. And understanding the martyr complex was really big for me. I mean, it was huge for me because now I say no. Before I would give until I was laying bleeding in the floor with nothing else. And now I don't do that. Now I'm very quick to say, yep, nope, not gonna, no, I can't help you. Let me give you some references of people you can call. And that, I think that probably was my biggest, um, that was probably my biggest thing, is to really understand like when to say no, how to say no. When you're looking at the shadow side of yourself and you're seeing it in black and white in front of you, it's really amazing how it doesn't just bring it into consciousness, but it brought it into my heart. Like, these are the things that, you know, that when you are a leader, when you are there to answer questions, when you are there to be a person of wisdom, when you are there to help people, you also have to know when to be quiet and not help them and not be the leader and not, you know, not put all of that out there, because there's times that you have to withdraw. And I always thought that I was an extrovert until COVID hit. And I realized that I am a learned extrovert. It is my gift and talent, but I also need that time to draw in and draw back and nourish and feed myself.
Yeah, exactly. I recognize a lot because audience, I have a 1-3 profile, the same as Sandra, and the martyrdom is, yeah, that's one big lesson to learn in life. So what kind of benefit, saying no, I know that it's a big issue in our society, saying no, especially for women. So what were the benefits of learning to say no, and also can you address that maybe making other decisions than you would normally have done? What kind of benefits brought that to your life?
Um, well, first off, saying no nourishes me. It really feeds my soul because, um, like I said, understanding the martyrdom complex, understanding the, like the, so I have my own stories. I have my own ideas about what I think leadership is. And a really good leader knows when to let you lead yourself. And a really good leader knows how to direct you, to direct yourself. And it's strengthened my coaching practice like in a huge way. I mean, huge way. And So, and I, I'm not a person who grew up with good boundaries. You know, I had those boundaries violated quite a few times. And so it's my purpose paper. One thing that it really gave me was, oh, wait a minute. Boundaries. Like I need to have very strong boundaries. And with the martyr complex, you'll just lay down in the floor and let people stomp all over you. Well, I've really learned how to stay in my power. You know, and it used to be if somebody would get mad at me, I would just like, please don't be angry with me. Please, please. And now I'm like, wow, they're angry. Wow, look at that. Honey, what's going on inside of you that you're angry? Like, what are you denying that's making you upset? You know? And
Yeah,
I'm good at that now. I'm like, yeah, I don't own that. That is your little box of poop. You deal with it. Like, yeah,
yes.
I'm here if you need a shoulder. I'll give you a tissue. I'll help you out. But guess what? That's yours, honey. That's your story. So,
Yeah, I love
oh,
that. I love
and
that.
that was the other thing. My purpose paper actually brought me to this project that I'm doing now.
Oh,
Because,
really?
yeah, because as a story coach, the thing that I really want is for every person in the world to be able to see and identify their own stories and to really ask themselves, is this story empowering me? Is it inspiring me? Or is it hurting me? Or is it depleting and debilitating me? And, you know, and the biggest thing of all is that, you know, I love Byron Katie's work when she says, is it true? And, you know, when you really begin to meet your stories head on, because your stories develop your life strategy. And
Yeah.
that's what the purpose paper brought me to, was the understanding of that. And now I'm making an entire business out of it. So yeah, you know, so this is what I have to say. I can tell you that my purpose paper gave me my life, like gave me the life that I have now. And I truly have a life I love right now. Still working on the relationship thing. But, men are crazy. But Monique also did my husband's purpose paper. And in reading his paper and understanding his paper, and, because I was there when she read it and I have a copy of it, it's really helped me to navigate our relationship better. So I think anybody who's in a relationship, if you're having your purpose paper done, you should have your partner's purpose paper done as well.
Yeah, I always call it the handbook of relationships.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, by the way, because yeah, I'm a big pro for especially a relationship or with children. When
Oh,
you know
yeah.
where they're coming from, what their purpose is in life, it's way easier to navigate, all the things that are like hanging around it. It's usually not the really important stuff. And we tend to focus on the not important stuff, and then we forget about the whole. Um, so yeah, thank you for sharing that because
Well,
I think it's
Monique did my son's purpose paper. And wow, I mean, he's my son, so I know him. I thought I knew him, and I didn't know him at all. It's like all these years that I'm like, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Like, what are you thinking? What were you thinking about? Well, now it's like we have built the sweetest relationship. And I mean, I took care of my father until he died, and I didn't even know him as a human until then. But I didn't want that to happen with my son. And now we talk 2, 3 times a week. We know each other. And having our purpose papers done, I let him read mine. He let me read his. I mean, it's really brought our family closer together. I mean, in a lot of ways. So, I mean, you know what? I don't know. I just think everybody should have their purpose paper done. And because I just think it's so cool.
so Quick question before we go to the last one. Did you know about human design, or had you heard about human design before the purpose paper?
Yeah, I did. I have friends that are in the that do Akashic records and all these other things, and everybody kept saying, "Sandra, you really need to have your human design done." So I looked it up, and I had my chart done through the Jovial Archive, and then I can't remember. Monique and I were having this conversation one day, and I said, I knew that Monique knew about astrology. And I said, have you ever heard of human design? And she sat back and she smiled and she said, oh, I know a lot about human design. And then then it was on from there. And you know, it was like, I just believe that I really think everybody should have their human design done. I think it answers I I think that it it just answers so many questions. And you know, it's like, you know, I think everybody wants to have a crystal ball, right? I mean, I think, how many times have you said, God, if I could just know the future or see the future? When you have your human design done and you read your purpose paper, that question goes away, because once you have your human design done and you've had your purpose paper read to you, you understand how your life is going to be. You understand what it is you're doing and what you need to do to make your life successful.
Yeah, I recognize that. So, last words, because we have covered a lot of things in a short time period. Is there any last words of wisdom or something that you would like to share that with our audience?
Yeah, actually I do. You know, a lot of people, they have their purpose paper done and the peer reads it to them and then they put it away and they don't look at it again. And I want to say to people, study your purpose paper, read your purpose paper and study it. And I can tell you that even I've had my purpose paper now almost 2 years, and it's in my binder. It's on my desk. I probably look at my purpose paper minimum once a week, that I'm looking up something or I'm looking at something, or that I'm using it again, that I'm going back to check something to be sure. And I just think, I don't know, I just think that study it, understand it, take the time. And if you're unclear, meet with your peer and get clear and ask questions. And, you know, and yeah, that's my best advice. Use it. It is a tool. Use it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Sandra, thank you for your time, for your openness. I really appreciate it. And I know we from YOUnique all very much appreciate that. And if anybody wants to hear more testimonials, please look at our YouTube channel. We are posting more and more testimonials every week now. So thank you, Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you.
And hopefully speak to each other soon.